What's up, fellow go-givers? Juwan Buford. You know how I do it first thing in the morning. I just recently wrapped up a good 30, 40 minutes of reading a book that I've revisited probably every 3 years, and it always just makes an incredible impact. And it's The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It's one of the books of the month that was suggested with one of the teams that I work with here. And I'll tell you, one of the chapters in the book reminded me of a talk that I used to give. And I think I actually may have acquired like the backbone of it from listening to a Les Brown recording like over 10, 15 years ago. But what it got me thinking about was, look, so often people set goals, right? And it's big deal, 2025, everybody's going to come into the year brand new, and they're going to take on the world, right? And one of the things I've always found interesting is that oftentimes people will set these big, huge goals or even small goals, right? It's all relative. But they don't anticipate the hard. And I think it's one of the primary reasons why people don't achieve their goals. It's why they start out the year with all this incredible enthusiasm, but then the hard shows up, right? And what's the hard? It's the pain, it's the turbulence, it's the resistance you're going to receive. And look, it's almost like universal law, or to me, it's akin to a plane taking flight, right? We know that when a plane takes flight, it expends most of its fuel on the takeoff. Why is that the case? Because it's fighting gravity, right? And it has to get to a certain altitude where, as a result of all the forces that act on the plane, it makes it easier for it to overcome that gravity. So that's why it shakes so much. That's why it rattles so much on the takeoff, right? And you should just expect that that's what's going to transpire whenever you decide to level up like a plane, that there's going to be gravity, there's going to be turbulence. What is that gravity? What does that turbulence, what does that hard look like? It's very much akin to going to the gym, right? Gyms make most of their money in the first 2-3 months after the new year, because people get these gym memberships and they end up not going. Why don't they go? Because they don't want to deal with the pain. They get in there the first 2-3 weeks. Some of them don't even last that long. And they start lifting those weights. They start moving around in ways and exercising muscles they haven't exercised before. The soreness starts to set in, and then they don't go back, right? And life is very much the same way, especially in business. When you decide to set new goals, when you decide to achieve new things, you're going to have to work muscles that you probably haven't employed before. You're going to find out there are muscles in your body that you probably weren't even aware of, right? And when I say muscles, I'm talking about skill stacks. I'm talking about talent stacks. I'm talking about knowledge stacks you may have. You may find out there are things that you don't know, right? You find out that you have deficits, if you will. And that's where that soreness comes from. And most people just don't have the tenacity to overcome the soreness. They don't have the tenacity to overcome the turbulence, the shaking that's going to occur. People are going to look at you sideways, because if you're doing different things, that means you're in the process of becoming a different person. And people don't like to see that. People are comfortable where you're at currently. They're comfortable with your current station in life. They're comfortable with the current self-concept that you have of yourself, right? And when you start to switch up, now all of a sudden you're being different. Now all of a sudden you're changing. Well, yeah, if you progress in life, you should be changing, right? You should be becoming more. You should become smarter. You should become wiser. You should become more able, be able to go further, go harder, right? If you're growing. And that will unsettle people. It'll unsettle people who are close to you, because their desire to be comfortable with the you that they know is greater than their desire to see you succeed. It just is what it is. It's a tough pill to swallow. And so you should expect the hard. You should expect the turbulence, right? You should expect that your modus operandi is going to be disrupted. You may have to get up earlier. You may have to stay later or stay awake later. Sometimes you got to give some things to go up. There may be some things that you really enjoy, some like extracurriculars that you really, have been comfortable doing for a number of years. You may have some networks or some groups of individuals who are involved in things that just don't necessarily line up with your goals and objectives. And the way I kind of think about it is like this. When I think about my goals and objectives, I think about my life sometimes as a business, right? A very wealthy business that affords me the ability to do all the different things that I want to do personally, spiritually, materially, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But I have a board of directors, and my board of directors are my goals and my values and the things I want to achieve, my objectives, right? And if my board tells me I need to do A, B, C, D, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. And if the things that don't necessarily serve me or solve their goals and objectives to the extent that I need them to, they got to get dismissed, right? They need to be replaced, right? And so oftentimes individuals set goals and they don't anticipate that you got to replace some things, right? And I think I read somewhere, you don't necessarily get rid of a habit, you replace a habit. So if you're in a habit of staying up late night scrolling and looking at social media, look, I've been guilty of it from time to time. You got to replace that with another habit. Maybe you set your goals and objectives, your to-do list the night before. If you're in a habit of waking up in the morning and scrolling and checking emails and, you know, the first thing you do is look and see what demands the world is placing on you, maybe, you know, spend some time in a book, maybe spend some time doing a course, maybe spend some time, listen to a podcast, right? Sharpen the saw, as opposed to doing those things first. You got to change things up. It's going to be disruptive. It needs to be disruptive in order for you to achieve the change that you're looking to achieve. It's in the morning, so for whatever reason, I'm not firing as sharp as I normally do, but you get the point that I'm trying to make, right? So, I don't know, it's top of mind because I have a lot of colleagues and people around me who are talking about all these changes they want to see transpire. And then I'm noticing the moment they get hit with a little bit of turbulence, the hard shows up, right? The difficulty, a little bit of pain shows up. You know, they're not returning back to the gym. They're just throwing up their hands and say, forget it. And we're only a couple days in. I'm like, wow, what are things really going to look like in about 3 to 6 months, right? But anyway, get back in the gym, endure the soreness. It goes away. You have to tear muscles in order to make them stronger, right? You tear the muscles, you go through the soreness, they heal, they become stronger, and then you're able to do what? Lift more weight. It's the same thing in life. You're able to do more of the things you need to do. Allow yourself to get torn up a little bit. Don't be afraid of the turbulence. Don't be afraid of the heart. Celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.